we go.
Hey guys, Eric here with another Carolina Autos video, and today we're going to be putting an intake on my new GR Supra 2.0, the 4-cylinder. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of drive around in the garage for a little bit, so you can kind of hear that there's really not much turbo noise and everything, and I hope the intake solves that. You know, it might give us a couple of horsepower, but nothing you'll be able to tell by the seat of your pants. But the main thing, or the main reason I like to put an intake on my cars, especially turbo cars, is you can hear it. So let's flip the camera around, go for a drive, and see what it sounds like. So I've got it in sport mode. Get the windows down all the way so you can hear better. It really doesn't make much noise. I'll kind of give it some gas here so you guys can hear. There's a little bit of turbo whistle, a little bit of blow off, or probably bypass valve, not blow off valve, but you guys can tell it's just super quiet. So the exhaust is coming in a couple of weeks, so you have that to look forward to. So it's got a little bit of noise, but it just doesn't sound like a turbo car should sound. So we're gonna drive up to the top here, where I can get some sunlight and pop the hood. And then we'll do a comparison between what I'm doing now. Let's give it one good, oh well, there's somebody up here. I'll get past those people. A radar detector. So just, there's a little sound to it, don't get me wrong, but we can make it a lot better, I think. There we go, out into the sun. Somebody's been doing donuts up here. So I'm just gonna pull right here, and we'll get this thing installed. There's the intake in the box. An aFe Takeda. I'm not sure how you spell that, or pronounce that, sorry. But let's go ahead and get this thing installed. I think I got everything I need. Interesting fact on the Supra, when you want to open the hood, you pull it to pop it, and then pull it again to unlock it. There's no latch under the hood. And then we should be able to just pull it open. And it's got struts and everything, so pretty easy. So what we're going to be doing is taking that guy out that connects to the turbo down there, and we're just going to be replacing it with the new one. So let's unbox everything and make sure we got all our pieces. All right guys, well I'm going to have to do this one-handed because I don't feel like going back downstairs and getting my GoPro, but again, that should be okay. All right, so first off, we got our install instructions. We're just going to lay those right there. I found this little toolkit. I read the install instructions earlier. Scratched my toolkit. But I found this toolkit that literally has everything I need, quarter drive, the sizes that I need, everything. So hopefully that works out pretty good. And we have a coupler, a filter, some clamps. The actual airbox itself, a rubber seal for the top of the airbox where it meets the hood, and the hose that goes to the turbo manifold, and some stickers. We'll put those back in the box for now. Alright, so let's see if we can get going on this thing. I think we got all the pieces. I already kind of did a pre-video checklist, made sure I had everything. I'm trying to do this without hitting buttons on my phone at the same time. Okay, you have to push it. The instructions really don't say much about how to do it. Oh, okay, so you just pull up on the clamp and then keep pulling on the clamp. It'll pop right out. Okay, so we'll set that to the side. Loosen the hose clamp at the factory air box, and then slide the factory intake tube away from the factory air box. So I'm gonna assume that is that right there. Yeah, that's gonna be that right there. So we need a flathead. I'll give you a minute to get my toolbox open. I'm gonna stop. Okay, guys, got my toolbox open. I actually moved the car. That corner is super breezy. It's like a whirlwind over there. So I found a nice little spot where I'm not getting as much wind. Sorry, I stopped the video to change out my socket wrench. Oh, going the wrong way. So this is actually a 6mm hose clamp right here to loosen up the air box. I always find it a lot easier to use sockets on these things than to use the flathead screwdriver. Just usually a little easier. All right, we'll set those down. Go back to our instructions here. All right, slide the factory intake tube away from the factory air box. Okay, that shouldn't be too difficult. There we go, that's off. Oh, and we gotta remove our IAT again, because I put it on to move the car. Now it doesn't want to come off again. There we go. Okay, so that box is pulled away from that. And it says remove factory air box, pull up on air box. I might need 2 hands for this, but I'm pretty sure it's just little rubber grommets, so if you just give it a good yank around the corners, it should just pop right out. Yay! Seems as though it took all of the rubber grommets with it. So we'll have to take those off and put them on the new box, but that's no big deal. Okay, disconnect the crankcase breather line and detach the IAT sensor harness from the factory tube. So that's going to be this, and I'm assuming this down here, if you guys can see that. So I don't know how these clamps work, so let me go off camera, figure out how they work, and then I'll show you. Okay, so these clamps are kind of annoying. They're very small, but I'm gonna do my best to show you. So there's these 2 little tabs on these clamps. There's a tab here, sticking down, and there's a second tab on the other half, sticking down. Pull those back, and then just take a screwdriver, stick it right in the corner there, where the two halves meet. And if you just turn it, it unclips and you can pull it up. So I'm gonna try to do it with this one. Where you guys can see it, little tab, push down, little tab, push down, 2 little tabs pushed down / out. And then there's a little bitty guy that you just stick it in there and it kind of comes open. And there we go. Okay, we got those freed up. And then this one is just a spring-loaded clamp. Just stick your fingers around the base of it. Try not to touch anything too hot if your car's warm. I think this one just spins off. But hold on, I got the whole assembly rotated too much. Okay, well, let me figure this one out also off camera, and then I'll just show you. Okay, guys, not gonna lie. This thing is a bitch to get off. this thing right here. It is the crankcase ventilation tube. It goes into the side of the tube there. So the easiest way I found, there's a clamp ring that secures this end of the factory intake tube to the turbo inlet right there. It's a plastic inlet manifold, or turbo inlet. And there's a C-ring that just holds this plastic tube onto there. Took that off and was able to twist the whole assembly here around so I could get at this a little bit better. So what you're going to want to do is kind of squeeze best you can. I mean, I wasn't quite strong enough to squeeze it and get it off, so I just took a screwdriver and stuck it right here. Just move it so you can see better. So I stuck the screwdriver. I got this side to come loose, the right side. The left side, I just had to twist it a little bit with the screwdriver. Okay, so the next page of instructions is basically just saying what I just said. Take the clamp ring off, and then you can get that crankcase hose off. So I got everything out. Now I gotta start transferring all of the stuff over to the intake pipe that's gonna sit on the turbo. So the IAT temperature and the crankcase ventilation NPT fitting. All right, so all we're doing is taking these bolts out of the factory box that has the filter in it and putting it on with those black bolts there onto that piece there, and then we're screwing that into that. So I'm gonna do all that and pick it back up in a minute. Okay, so I got that screwed in. Keep in mind, that's not always gonna sit flush. Just get it tight, get it snug, probably about 20 foot-pounds. Remember, it's going into plastic, you don't need to over tighten it. And these are Torx T20, I forgot to mention. So that's the new pipe with the stuff installed, ready to go on. Okay, so the next step is to take the filter, which is that, and install it into the box, which is that. And then we gotta put the little rubber surround around the top of the airbox there, so it'll seal when the trunk is shut, or the hood is shut. And then we're gonna put a hose clamp on, but don't tighten it yet. Just get ready to put it on there kind of loosely. Hey guys, so sorry to interrupt the video right in the middle of the install, but I'm sitting here editing and realized that I completely screwed up the video. Every time that I thought I was turning my camera on, I was turning it off. So I just had like 4 sections of the video that were just me recording the ground because I was setting my phone down. I somehow got mixed up. I'm new to iPhone, and I just didn't realize what was going on, basically. So the main part that you miss is, because I don't feel like going out there and reinstalling it, unless somebody really needs me to take it apart and kind of show you what you need to do with it. The main part that you missed was the coupler that comes with the new intake. There's a little rubber coupler that goes one side on the turbo inlet and one side on the intake tube. The short side goes towards the intake tube, the long side goes onto the turbo inlet, and there is a ring, a seat that it sits down in. Just push it on. It's going to go on a little further than you might think it needs to, but once it's seated on there, it'll securely kind of snap into place. And then the intake tube will securely fit in the other side. Get your clamps, your hose clamps on there. Get them lined up on the side that's going to make it easiest to ratchet them down. And that's really the main part you missed. Short side towards the intake tube, long side of that coupling goes towards the motor, goes towards the turbo inlet. So I'll throw this part of the video in there. Sorry, but again, kind of idiot user error thing. So it's going to jump forward to when I was installing the new airbox, and I had taken the rubber grommets off of the old airbox and just put them back into the mounting positions on the car. Pretty simple stuff. You should be fine. Again, if you need me to film something like that, just let me know. I will happily go out and kind of disassemble and reassemble for you. Okay, so the grommets are installed and the new airbox is ready to be plopped in. And what you're gonna do is take it, make sure you kind of got it lined up, and it should just push in to there's other spots. So I need 2 hands for this. You're just gonna push it down onto the grommets. Okay, so this thing's actually a little annoying to get lined up. But once you see down there where it's seated into, there's a tube coming out. Try to get my big old hands out the way. There's a tube coming out from behind the headlight that's pulling in cool air. There's a hole in the airbox down there. That lines up. And then we're lined up on the grommet down there and the grommet down there. And you shouldn't be able to really move the box once it's seated correctly in the grommets. And then I found it's easiest, honestly, to just undo this clamp completely that's gonna go around here. Because what we can do, since it comes completely apart, is just pull it apart like that, wrap it around it, and put it back in. It's just a bitch to line everything up unless you do that. So I've got everything lined up. Tubes are going back in place. And I actually ran the sensor wire for the IAT under the crankcase ventilation tube that's going to get slid down onto that metal piece that we installed earlier, just to keep it from touching anything hot. Okay, so it's kind of a workout, but I got all the clamps where I want them, got them mostly tightened down, got my crankcase ventilation clicked onto the metal fitting, got the IAT sensor put back in. Don't forget to put back your little green clamp there, that guy. Make sure he's snug. And these are all pre-tightened, ready to just finish up. Again, this is plastic, so you don't have to go too hard with it. Just kind of get it to where it starts to give you some resistance, and then stop. One more half turn. Yep. Probably about 15 pounds is all you need. And I don't know if I want to be able to get the socket on that one. Oh, it does. Oh, that's good. Again, just kind of get it to where it's giving you some resistance and give it another. I'm going in quarter turns now, so I'll give it 2 once it kind of loads up. That's loaded up, so 1 quarter turn, and we'll give it 1 more for good measure. Why not? Make sure my socket's not gonna fall off. And the other one I stuck under here. I don't know if I'm gonna get the socket on it or not. Oh, wait a minute. I can kind of get it on there. Not really good. I'm gonna set my phone down and just tighten that back, that last one up against the turbo inlet. Okay, everything is all tightened up, and I forgot a step, which was to put the seal on the top of the airbox. So these seals are pretty simple. It's just like some malleable metal rubber clips, and you literally just take the end and stick it on there. Sometimes you kind of have to open the very end up a little bit just to get it started. Doesn't matter where you start. I usually like to start somewhere where it's pretty straight. And just kind of push it on there all the way around. And I need 2 hands to do that, so I'm going to stop and do that real quick. Okay, seal is on, filter's tight, that's tight, that's in, that's in. We're done, boys. So let's go, well, pack up, take all this crap away, and then take her for a test run. See if it got us the sound we wanted. All right, guys, let's see if we got the intended effect. So start up sounds good. No check engine lights. It's bonging at me. So I don't have my seatbelt on. Let's give it a rev. Kind of better sound. And what we should really get is the better blow off noises and such. So let's go take a lap around the garage. much more noises. I have to go up here and turn around. Much better. That's what we wanted to hear. Let that engine breathe a little. In and out. So that is a huge difference. People are going to be thinking we got a fast car, and it's just a 4-cylinder. Much better. You guys will be able to hear it better once I get in the garage, where it kind of echoes in here a lot. Make sure there's nobody standing around. Much nicer. This thing's gonna sound so good once I get the exhaust on it. The buddies are here. Much better.
Okay, alert.
Of course, my radar detector interrupts everything. Okay, well, that is proof enough for me. Hopefully proof enough for you guys. I'm gonna park the car. And we are done, boys. So hopefully that's encouraged everybody to DIY. If you take that to a shop, they're gonna charge you like 200 bucks for labor. And you can just do it yourself. It's not difficult. Slightly annoying for some of the steps, but not the worst intake I've ever done. I think we are done with the video. All right, guys, I took the car for a quick drive around the block on the street, and I am super happy. It got me exactly what I wanted. It's almost too much noise. Makes it sound like it's a faster car than it really is, but hey, that's okay. It sounds good to me. Hopefully you guys agree. You'll be able to hear it once I start doing POV driving videos. Everybody on the street is going to hear it. It sounds pretty good. You can hear the turbo now. You hear the blow off or the bypass valve when it activates, kind of flutters. I can't tell a difference, seat of my pants and power. I mean, you know, these things may add 4 or 5 horsepower, but it's whatever. I didn't do it for the power, did it for the sound. Also doing the exhaust for the sound, that's probably not going to really add much power. You know, maybe between all of that, I spent about $2 grand on the intake and the exhaust together. Yeah, maybe you get 10 wheel horsepower, maybe. And maybe it's a couple pounds lighter, but not really for performance, more to get the sound the way I want it. So hopefully that gave you guys an idea of how your car could sound. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.